You might have a thriving career, a wide circle of friends, and a calendar full of social events, yet still feel completely alone. You sit in a crowded room of people claiming to love you, but there's an aching emptiness, an invisible barrier between you and true connection. This isolation usually comes with an exhausting set of behaviors. You might find yourself playing the endless role of caretaker for a volatile partner. You spend days walking on eggshells, monitoring their moods, and managing their reactions. Over time, the relationship starts to feel less like a partnership and more like a carefully navigated trap. The toll is intensely physical. Your body lives in a state of high alert. Your stomach stays tied in knots, and chronic tension headaches become your normal. Then your partner suddenly shifts into a good mood, and all that physical panic melts into a wave of total, addictive bliss. This constant whiplash is destabilizing. You are navigating a relationship dynamic built on crazy-making behavior, one that forces you to doubt your own sanity just to stay in it. To understand why you're stuck in this cycle, we have to look backwards. This exhausting adult reality is actually an echo. It is a subconscious replication of an emotional blueprint drawn long before you ever met your partner. That blueprint often starts with an emotionally immature parent. To the outside world, these parents look perfectly normal. They provide safe homes, plenty of food, and good educations. But while they easily manage the tangible requirements of raising a child, they remain completely oblivious to their children's inner lives. Genuine emotion terrifies them. Instead of tuning in to their child's needs, they demand what psychologists call narcissistic supply. Their fragile self-esteem relies on constant validation, admiration, and having the world reflect their own opinions back to them. When a child inevitably expresses a separate need or acts independently, it threatens the parent's control. The parent then reacts with explosive rage, prolonged silent treatments, or by playing the victim, forcing the child to feel deep shame just for needing comfort. We can see this control extend into active isolation, documented in this passage. The parent will routinely criticize your family, friends, and workplace, or tell falsehoods about the people close to you. Slowly, your outside support system erodes away, making you entirely dependent on them. A child requires attentive, reliable interactions to build a baseline sense of security. When a parent fails to make that solid emotional connection, the child is left with a gaping hole where true security might have been. The absence of that connection creates a severe biological paradox. Throughout human evolution, survival depended on the group. From the moment we are born, our nervous systems are hardwired to run directly toward our caregiver the second we feel threatened. But a profound dilemma occurs when the person supposed to protect you is also the one hurting you. When the source of your fear is also your only source of safety, your nervous system gets locked in an adrenalized state. You are trapped in a biological double bind, unable to fight, flee, or relax. To survive this impossible situation, a child will invent an adaptation. They create a role self, a carefully constructed persona designed specifically to get some kind of positive attention from their deeply preoccupied parent. They become internalizers, believing that it is entirely up to them to fix the family's problems. If you took on the caretaker role, you quickly learned the rules of survival. You discovered that to be loved, you had to completely silence your own needs. You spent your childhood jumping through hoops to manage your parents' bruised ego and fragile emotions. This relentless effort cements into a subconscious healing fantasy. You convince yourself that if you can just be good enough, helpful enough, or perfect enough, your parent will eventually transform into the loving caregiver you desperately need. Fast forward to adulthood, and that primitive instinct driving you toward familiarity is still fully active. Because your brain associates the chaos of your childhood with home, you are subconsciously drawn to egocentric and exploitative people. They feel safe because they feel familiar. This skewed radar distorts how you experience new people. A considerate, emotionally available partner feels boring or unnerving, but the anxiety, volatility, and unpredictability of an immature partner is instantly interpreted by your nervous system as intense, undeniable chemistry. This text highlights how that chemistry is actually a trauma bond, an enigmatic connection born from a childhood relationship template. It keeps you locked in a cycle where the very thought of the relationship ending triggers a visceral, physiological panic. A partner's initial charm, charisma, and confidence are the hooks that pull you in. But it is the trauma bond, the deeply ingrained echo of your childhood adaptation, that ultimately keeps you stuck. Breaking this loop requires letting go of the strategy that kept you safe as a child. You have to actively grieve your long-held healing fantasy and accept the hard truth that no amount of perfect behavior will ever repair or change an emotionally immature person. Healing means stepping away from the caretaker role. It requires prioritizing your own physical and emotional health, setting firm limits, and flatly refusing to manage the moods and reactions of the adults around you. You can put emotional loneliness in the past. True intimacy becomes possible the moment you decide to honor your true self and stop the cycle of self-neglect. If you're ready to start rewriting your blueprint, check out the guide on screen and subscribe for more.